you can't beat yourself up for the things you did in survival mode, right? Let's talk about it. So when you're in survival mode, right, and it's easy for you, and now mind you, you do this with other people too. You look and you can often judge them and go, well, God, look at what they did when they were younger. And by the way, there will be people in your life, don't let this be you. Please don't let this be you. But there will be people in your life that will only see you for the person that you were when you were unhealed or you were in survival mode. I don't care what you do now, you're always going to be the reject. You're always going to be the bad seed. That's their stuff, not yours. Do not waste your energy and bang your head against the wall trying to get them to see who you are today. No, we are not doing that, because some people are just committed to that. But you have to understand that life in general, right? I think we all know this. I don't think I'm dropping any sudden knowledge. Is difficult. It's difficult because think about those first years. And I don't just mean the first 5 years. In adolescence, right? Your frontal cortex isn't formed. You're still heavily reliant upon other people to keep you alive, to keep you healthy, to keep you fed, safe. And a lot of times, those things don't always happen. So you have to suddenly figure it out. You don't have the knowledge. It's not like somebody's like, hello, here is the rule of the streets. Here's some street knowledge for you. Make sure here's a book. You can tap into it when you need it. No, you have to figure it out. And as I'm writing in my book, these topics come up and I'm always like, oh, let me give you a little blurb of it because it's so important, because I remember so much of going, oh man, here I am in high school and I'm selling that, plant stuff on the corner. And that was just scratching the surface. When I went out to California with my dad, I was rolling on both sides of the gang, which I think you're supposed to pick a side. I didn't. I was on different parts of different areas. And I was like, oh, I'm going to roll with these people here. I was trying to fit in. I was trying to find my space. And a lot of illegal things your girl did. Oh my God, so many. I don't even know that I could count them, but I'm only going to even touch a few of them in this book. And so did you. Maybe you didn't do illegal things, but you did things you had to do. Maybe you jacked somebody up. Maybe you screwed somebody over. But again, I'm not saying permiss it, but give yourself some grace. Show yourself some compassion, because you didn't have the tools. You don't get to judge yourself with the tools you have now. Like, you can't do that. You can't be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Well, you did what you did. You didn't have that knowledge now. It's so funny because the house that my husband and I live in is the only house I've ever owned, right? I bought it when I was 40. I'm almost 52, 39, 40, something like that. I never thought I'd own a house. I thought that was just what rich people did. I thought, oh my gosh, that's like this big hierarchy up here that I'm never going to reach, right? Because I was so used to like, okay, what's my next move? I was always in go mode. And you may have been too. And guess what? You're going to hurt people along the way. They've hurt you. You hurt people. You got to forgive yourself on it. You have to, because you can't judge yourself with the knowledge you have now. You can't look and go, I can't believe I did that. But you did do it. But you did. See, if you're not accepting that, you're never going to find self-love. You're always going to, and here's another secret to that. People will be able to, in your mind, hold things against you, right? So if somebody from your past in survival has some dirt on you, and then you're like, oh my God, I hope they don't say anything. Why? Own it. Own it, because you know what? You're going to do things then and now to survive. I have been in this business in life, but then in this business as a practice, like I do this with my clients, is don't ever tell me what you won't do. Don't do it. Don't tell me you won't cheat. Don't tell me you wouldn't hurt somebody. Don't tell me you wouldn't don't do that, because until you're in a certain position, you don't really know what you would do. It's easy to judge it from afar. So you're judging yourself and the things you did and the people you hurt and the situations and screwed up things you did. And you're putting your feet to the fire. Yeah, you don't have regrets. I have no regrets. I have lessons. If I don't learn the lessons, or if I don't accept things, then they will remain regrets. Then in regrets, then you're just like, oh my God, you're never going to find that peace, that inner balance. And until you can accept that what has happened, what you said, what you did, I'm not talking about other people. I'm not talking about your reasoning. I'm talking about the fact that you have to do. Maybe you do. Maybe you were not living the street life like I was. Maybe you weren't. And that's fine. But you were doing something that you're sitting there and you're stressing yourself out about. Why? Number one, acceptance, radically, that you're not getting that time back. I don't care how much you cry about it. I don't care how much you ruminate on it. I don't care about how much you persecute yourself. It's not getting that time back. Learn the lessons. There's certain knowledge that you can't get from a book, that you can't get from society. There is certain knowledge, and that's called street knowledge. And you got it if you give yourself the opportunity to do it. But when you, and be careful of your judgment of others, as you get older and maybe as you are in a better situation than you were when you were in survival skills mode, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget the things you did. Don't judge somebody else either. Because just because they're under, say they're harming, I don't mean like abuse. That's not what I mean. But I mean, let's say they're just living their life, what you would call recklessly. They're doing the best they can with what they got. The savior on the white horse. You're not. Okay. And so you have to be really careful of that, because if you're not, you're going to get yourself in, you're going to sit in judgment, but you're not really judging them. You are, but you're judging them because you know how you were, right? And so many times people forget where they came from, right? They forget. As you elevate, right? As you elevate yourself, sometimes you forget where you started, or suddenly you're like, I don't want to know it. I can't. But if you can't accept that part of you, you're never going to accept any part of you. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And, I think that's probably a big, and think of this too. That's a big reason why sometimes you're too worried about what other people think of you, because it's what you think of you. See, believe me, I was judged so heavily within the white community, right? Because we were like white trash. So class wise, we weren't there with there were a few people that we were fine with, not many. And so I didn't have a space. I had no identity. Luckily I found it, honestly, on selling the plant stuff, right? Those were my people. They accepted me for me. And it's tough, right? Because you can look and you can say, but my God, I don't ever want to go back there. I hear you. But if you did go back there, you'd be able to survive it, because you did already. You already survived those things. I know. I get it. I don't want to go back there either. Right? I get it. Trust me, I get it. And that can create more anxiety for you, because now you're in this, you have a little PTSD, right? I've had I talk about it in the book, serious PTSD of finances. Because Dad and I, after Mom passed and stuff, we lived in a kidnapper van, like the white van, no windows, like the van type thing. And yeah, it was tough. And we were ridiculed and we were judged and we were persecuted. There is no online troll that could ever hurt my feelings. I will block you and keep it moving. I do not take anything people say remotely at face value. I don't allow it to rattle me, because you shouldn't allow it to rattle you either. Because think about the things that you survived. They don't know you. And some people who do know you are only committed to knowing a past version of you. Only you know you. Get to know you. Don't worry about these peripherals. And pull strength from the areas that you keep stressing yourself about. Pull strength from it. You survive, baby. Welcome to the world of humanity, where life is hard. And no matter what the mistakes are that you've made along the way, you accept it. Don't regret it. You can learn lessons, right? Now with more knowledge, you want to try and not repeat that behavior, but be gracious with yourself, because some of you still may not have those tools. So then you're trying to figure it out because you're trying to fit in and you're trying to do all these things. You can't do that. And the more you beat yourself up, the more lonely you will feel. The more codependent you will be, the more attached you will be, the more I need acceptance from other people you will be. Don't worry about what these people are saying about you. Don't worry about the things in which you've done. You take the lesson, you give yourself love and grace, and look in the mirror today and you realize that, you know what? You did survive. You did survive. I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say it was fun, but you're here. So don't tell me that you can't do it, because you already did. You can't tell me you can't do it. You're here. You did do it. Yes, you hurt people. Yes, that happened. You can apologize and you can make changes. An apology without a behavior change is an empty word. But don't beat yourself up, because you did what you did with the knowledge you had when you had it. Give yourself some love and grace, because I promise you, you deserve it.